Gage Permar here, crushbackpain.com. Today we're going to talk about lower back pain when sitting. Just don't sit. It's that simple. If you have lower back pain when sitting, don't sit. Now I'm just playing with you. I know we all have times, periods, probably jobs where we have to sit. So I wish it were that simple, but it's not. The back doesn't like to sit though. It's not built to sit. When we sit, our lumbar spine goes from what we call the natural position. We have a natural curve in our lumbar spine and standing. We call it a lordosis. So you can see right back here, I've got a nice natural lordosis, a curve. That's kind of how our spine is built to be stacked, built to be positioned. And when we sit, that curve reverses and this rounds out. So the lumbar spine flexes when we sit. With sitting and lumbar flexion, there's an increased compressive force through the lumbar spine, primarily through the discs. And backs usually just don't like that, especially for people that are less than about 60 years of age. Backs don't like that seated position, primarily because of the disc. So if you have to be in a seated position for a prolonged period, I'm going to show you 3 things you can do that really help reduce that low load compression force through your lumbar spine. The first thing you probably already do intuitively, and it's just shifting. So if you're seated for a long time, you probably do this already if you have lower back pain with sitting. You'll shift to the left, you'll shift to the right, you'll come down here, you'll come up here. That's good. You want to keep doing those things. If you're not shifting, then start. Because what the back hates is a sustained position. So you hear a lot about posture, sitting posture, and that's great. Instead of being here, you want to be here. With our work on computers now, tablets, phones, we all tend to kind of come here. And this is a lot better than this, because this is closer to a standing position with a natural curve opposed to this. So absolutely, this is a lot better. Although this position in a seated posture is still not going to be comfortable for prolonged periods, for hours. So even here, you're still going to want to shift left, right. You can come and lean on one leg, come and lean on the other leg. The best sitting posture is one that changes repeatedly and frequently. Remember that. The best sitting posture is one that changes repeatedly and frequently, because changing just subtle shifts, subtle weight shifts, reduces that low load prolonged pressure through specific tissues of your lumbar spine, and that's really going to help reduce pain. So number 1, change position frequently. Subtle shifts, subtle changes in position. The best sitting posture is one that changes frequently. The second thing you're going to do, I call them micro breaks, is you're going to stand up every 20 minutes. You're literally just going to stand up. Put that spine in a standing position. It could be for 30 seconds. It could be for 5 minutes. You just want to get your lower back out of a seated position. And that's going to change the loads through the spine and allow the tissues to not become painful. And the reason it's every 20 minutes, when we're in a seated position or any position for 20 minutes, the tissues, and we're talking about the lower back, so when you're seated for 20 minutes, the tissues in your lower back, within 20 minutes, they start to slowly stretch. And that slow stretch allows more load to be placed through the lumbar spine. More load means the potential for more pain. So every 20 minutes you get up, you don't let that slow stretch start in. You stay ahead of it. That never happens. You don't get that increased load through your lumbar spine. You don't get the pain. So every 20 minutes you're going to stand up, and you can go for a walk, you can go to the bathroom, you can go do whatever, or you can just stand up and then sit back down. But every 20 minutes you want to stand up. If you're not able to do this, if you're driving, if you're on an airplane, if you just can't do it, then obviously you need to shift weight like we talked about previously, change positions frequently. So you've got the frequent shifting, you've got standing up every 20 minutes, micro breaks, and then the other thing you can do is you can manipulate your sitting posture, your sitting position. The big thing you want to do is you want to really make sure that if you're going to be seated for a long time, if you have a desk job, if you have a car where you do long commutes, you're on the road a lot, at the very least you want your femur, your thigh, to be at a 90-degree angle from your torso. So I'm about 90 degrees right here. I'm talking about this angle. What you want to avoid is a seat that brings your thigh up your femur up towards your chest. You want to avoid a seat like a bucket seat where the part that your leg's on is tilted back like this, because that flexes your lumbar spine more and puts greater force through the lumbar spine. That leads to more pain. So at the very least, you want 90 degrees. Even better is if you can reduce that angle to less than 90 degrees. And the way you do that is whatever you're sitting on, that can be dropped down, or you can raise the bottom up. So I don't have anything back here, but if I raise the bottom up or dropped the part down that my legs are on, you can see that angle would decrease. It'd be less than 90. What that does is it puts your lumbar spine in more of a natural position. It allows that lordosis, that natural curve, to kind of fall into place, opposed to having the spine flex. So here, and I'm exaggerating it, you probably wouldn't be up this high, but this position is better than here and a lot better than here. So if you have bucket seats on your car, you know, get a pillow or get something that's going to raise up your bottom. A lot of cars you can adjust the seat pan, the part that your legs and bottom are on, get it as flat as it'll go. Some vehicles you can actually get it to where it'll tilt forward. If it does, do that. And if you have an office chair that adjust it. If not, get something, put it under the bottom to bring the bottom up so you reduce that angle. So it's less than 90 degrees, that angle between your femur and your torso. That's going to go a long ways in reducing that low load compression force through your lumbar spine. Reducing that force is going to reduce pain. So those are the three things you want to do if you have lower back pain when sitting. You want to shift. Remember, the best seated posture is one that changes frequently and repeatedly. You want to take micro breaks every 20 minutes. And then you also want to make sure if your car or your desk chair, wherever it is you sit for prolonged periods, you want to make sure at the very least the angle between your femur and your torso is 90 degrees, and even better, reduce that angle so it's more like 80 degrees or 75 degrees. And you want to avoid at all costs a chair or a seat in your vehicle where the knees are pushed up towards the chest. So those are the three things that you're going to do if you have lower back pain when sitting. If you need more help building a strong pain-free back, go over to crushbackpain.com. Check out one of the programs I have over there. Also, if you like this video, if it helps you, leave me a thumbs up below, leave a comment, and I'd like to know what questions you have on the lower back, what questions you have about lower back pain. Let me know below, and I'll be sure to cover the questions you have here on the Crush Back Pain YouTube channel.